And welcome back to the Hot Lap. Are we going to have a new FIA President come the end of the year? Will his name be Sainz Sr for some, or just plain Carlos Sainz for others? Yeah, old school fans, this WRC Rally Dakar legend may well be calling the shots at the end of the year. Is it going to be Goodbye Ben? Well, we're going to have to see whether it's going to be Goodbye Ben. We're going to have, no doubt, our fingers very much crossed. As you can see here, breaking Carlos Sainz Sr. considers running for FIA President. Now, some of you may well be thinking, okay, but he is very much in line with Audi. He's very much in line with a certain son who's currently doing fairly well in the Williams, if you take away Miami, of course, which has just been the most recent Grand Prix. But in relation to that, he says, any conflicts of interest, he says, I have my track record, and people know me well enough to understand that this will not be an issue. Obviously, I will have to step down regarding my role with Carlos and his career, but this is not an issue at all, he said. He's not a child anymore. He's been in F1 for a decade now, and we both know that if I go ahead with this project, our relationship will change, of course. The FIA is a very serious entity, and there will be no conflict. Unlike, obviously, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, who thrives on it, I imagine. But so this is for that clip is from this motorsport.com article. Carlos Sainz Jr. explains why now is the right time to consider running for FIA President. And why is it? Well, he spoke exclusively to motorsport.com. The two-time rally champion said he was currently in the process of figuring out how much support I will get from the community of motorsport. I'd like to think someone like Carlos Sainz Jr. would get infinite more support than a certain Mohammed Ben Sulayem, who's been an absolute disaster. But the next president election is going to be held in Uzbekistan on the 12th of December. And incumbent Mohammed Ben Sulayem is expected to seek a second term. Unfortunately, no other candidates have yet come forward, and I did mean that, unfortunately, for a second term. But Sainz, who still races, he won the Dakar Rally as recently as 2024 with Audi, said he had previously thought about running as head of the governing body of motorsport, but never seriously before now. Maybe this is his calling. Maybe he's come to rescue us. There are plenty of reasons, but I've been driving, he says, for more than 40 years, and this sport has given me everything. This possibility has been in my mind for some time now. Not very deeply, he says, but now I think it could be the right time in my career to take the step. He goes on saying that he's confident that he could do a good job, and he's sure he's going to put an excellent team together. He's talking about accumulating a lot of experience in the sport, in motorsport, I imagine in general, throughout the years, and he thinks he can be interesting news to the sport. Now, a side note on that, the WRC, the World Rally Championship, definitely needs as much help as it can get. As we recently did a video, I think as yesterday, at the time of recording this, the 6th of May, in relation to the future of the WRC, and it's kind of a mess. Essentially, you've only got 2.5 manufacturers in the top echelons. But anyway, I digress. Carlos Sainz carried on, but saying, I have my track record, and people know me well enough to understand that this will not be an issue, and that was in terms of conflict of interest, which we have already read about. But when asked what he would bring to the role, Sainz said it would be his track record of how he's previously worked. He says, well, everybody has his own way of running an organisation, his own beliefs on what is best, and his own way of understanding the sport and the world of mobility. He said, I think my track record showed that when I'm committed to something, I only know one way to do things, which is professionally, seriously, and straightforward. Then it will be up to the community to decide. So the opposite, really, what's been going on with the FIA currently. The FIA's relations in Formula 1 also strained over the past few years, and Sainz would not be drawn on Ben Sulayem's controversial term in office, in which he was investigated for potentially investigating the outcome, influencing the outcome of a race. He's fallen out with drivers across different series over his ban on swearing, and has recently faced an exodus of senior executives. How can this guy have a second term? He said, I think obviously lately there's been some controversy, but I want to concentrate on myself. I'll leave the judgment to others. Yeah, fair enough. He says, I do this run for president. It will not be to fight anyone. It will be out of passion and love for motorsport, because I believe I can help improve certain things, which I don't think that's the reason Mohammed Ben Sulayem did. He's like got main, as we keep saying, he definitely has main character syndrome. In relation to the FIA President elections, how do they work though? And they got this quite good article explaining it. So as we know, there's going to be an election in December to win, and you win a 4-year term. It's kind of like it's a democratic election, apparently. So every 4 years, the FIA holds a presidential election in its General Assembly. And it's composed of national sporting authorities and automotive clubs representing the 245 organisations across 149 countries. Now, it handles agenda points brought forward by the FIA's two World Council. You've got the World Motorsport Council and the World Council for Automobile Mobility and Tourism. Now, as well as items coming from the Senate, it also votes in all major FIA officials, including, yes, the President. As we know, the next one is in the 12th of December. Now, very similar, like a political election, the President candidate does not run alone. He has his own team. So Carlos, like Ben Sulayem, has his own team, albeit I don't know how much of his team Ben Sulayem has left because they're all leaving. The prospective candidate runs alongside the President of the Senate and must also pick a Deputy President and 7 Vice Presidents for the sports, as well as a Deputy President, and 7 Vice Presidents for Automobile, Mobility and Tourism. It's quite the mouthful. Now, that number of Vice Presidents ensures that all regions are going to be represented, with 2 representatives for Europe and 1 each for MENA, Africa, North America, South America and the Asia Pacific regions. The candidates for the presidential and deputy presidential roles must be under 70 years of age on the day of the election, down from 75 previously, and the FIA president may not serve more than 3 4-year terms for a maximum duration of 12 years. Now, for a list to be eligible in the first place, it must have the support of certain members. How does the voting work? Well, each member country receives a maximum of 24 votes, 12 for sport and 12 for mobility. Some countries only have 1 batch of votes, so they only have an eligible member organisation for either one or the other. Voting in the General Assembly is carried out by a secret ballot, with the votes counted in private on the FIA's legal department under supervision. Members can either vote for their preferred candidate or they can even abstain. The candidate with an absolute majority in a first voting round or a simple majority in the second round is elected as president. Voila! Now, incumbent president Mohammed Ben Sulayem defeated Graham Stoker at the last election, succeeding John Todd in the role. Ben Sulayem received 61.62% of the votes, Stoker 36.62% and 1.76% of the members abstaining, as you can read there. Ben Sulayem, a 14-time FIA Middle East Rally champion, no slouch at the time, held a number of senior FIA roles before being elected. Officially, no candidate has opposed him. As we know, this man, Ben Sulayem, has come under scrutiny over the few years with controversies, concerns raised by Motorsport UK President Dave Richards over the body's governance. Numerous senior staff, as we know, have also left the organisation. So, hopefully, this man can't do much worse. What do you think? If you guys want to comment below, let me know. If you made it to the end, you're absolutely amazing. If you're not subscribed, hopefully this little story has earned you a subscription. Obviously, unless you are a Mohammed bin Sulayem fan, you're welcome to dislike it. I completely understand why you dislike it. I don't know why you'd be a Mohammed bin Sulayem fan, but it's a free country. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, aren't they? Speak to you soon. And above all else, stay safe.